Yes, I think. Hello, I'm here. Hi. Let's do the classic introduction. Hi, I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to Penny Goes Live. And tonight I'm going to be talking all about what we can expect with the upcoming energies for May 2023. Right. Well, this is going to be an interesting month. Let's put it that way. We have some interesting energies. I mean, the most probably, there's about three really big points that I'm going to come to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the kind of main energies that I want to talk about, the astrological energies. And then towards the end, I will start looking at all the live feed and answering your questions, because one or two of you have said on the last one I did, it was a bit kind of distracting because I was sort of hopping from what I was doing to answering someone on live chat. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more Virgo minded and ordered and kind of organized about it tonight. So let's see whether Mercury retrograde helps me do that. So let's go. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go through first of all what I think is probably one of the most interesting aspects of this month, which is about my big but actually quite small outer boy, Pluto, our planet of transformation, our planet of power, our planet of endings and beginnings, because Pluto goes retrograde. It actually goes retrograde tomorrow, which is May the 1st. So here we are, right at the beginning of the month, and the astrological energies are not going to disappoint. They're just going to keep bringing it on and giving it all to us. So how is Pluto retrograde going to affect us and the energies in general of the month of May? Because I've actually drawn up, excuse me, the chart for when Pluto goes retrograde tomorrow. And what's super interesting is that really it just stands still. And it basically stands still from our perception on planet Earth for the whole of May. In fact, by the end of May, it will have only moved about something like 3 or 4 minutes. It's really imperceptible. So it's basically just kind of standing still, observing, which in many ways is perhaps how we need to handle the month of May with the energies. We need to take our own lives and kind of stand still and observe, because there is a lot going on, let alone with Mercury retrograde, which is till the middle of the month, but I'll come to that in a minute. So, Pluto, what's most important about Pluto is that it's in this hard square, which is challenging to both the South Node in Scorpio and the North Node in Taurus. And it's going to be holding this position more or less for the next kind of really 18 months. It's just going to be hovering there in this kind of like a holding pattern for an aircraft. It's just hovering there, waiting for something to change, for something to move. And Jupiter, my big boy of expansion, luck, opportunity, Jupiter actually moves into Taurus. Now, Taurus, remember, is all about material things. It's a fixed sign. It's about the earth. It's rich. It's growth. It's also fixed and stubborn. I should know, I'm a Taurus. And anyway, Jupiter is moving into Taurus on let me just get down here, 16th of May. So that's the second of, or the third actually, of one of the big transits for this month. Let's just come back a bit because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but it's because Jupiter is going to be making a square to Pluto because Jupiter is going to be conjunct the North Node. But I'll come to that in a minute. Let me come back to the beginning because on the 5th of May, we have this full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Interestingly, the day before King Charles III of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth is crowned king. Interesting timing. Although eclipses bring about enormous change, it can be present when somebody is becoming a leader, a ruler. So it's not just about the kind of downside or the negative loss of someone in power, although both equally can happen. And I have done a separate video about the full moon, which will be up on my channel in the next couple of days. And what's interesting, which I'll just tell you now about this full moon, is that Uranus is conjunct the sun. Uranus, our planet of the unexpected, of freedom, of rebellion, of shock and surprise, is conjunct the sun in Taurus opposite this full moon in Scorpio. That's massive. That is massive. So that the energy this week, leading up to the end of the week, is going to feel, I think, quite intense. But what I want to add is that doesn't necessarily mean it's not good or it's not bad, because maybe we should actually sometimes view these kind of energies as a kind of breaking through, that we need to break through something maybe on a personal level, one of our personal kind of habits that holds us back, that stops us progressing in the way that we could. So there's so many different ways we can look at this energy. And that full moon combined with Pluto retrograde, or as I say, standing still, is very symbolic because it's bringing in this fixed energy. Because Pluto, remember, is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is fixed. So you've got this Scorpio, Taurus, Pluto, fixed energy. It's like, what's going to give? That's why the choice of the coronation for Saturday the 6th is a little bit questionable. I'm not sure. If I was King Charles's personal court astrologer, I'm not sure I would have recommended the 6th as the best day to do this. Whether he consults astrologers or not, who knows? Probably not. Although, as we know, his late wife, Princess Diana, who I know will be around all this energy like Banquo's ghost, it's going to be quite interesting, I think, what we watch unfold. And I think there's a certain amount of unpredictability around the whole energy astrologically of the actual coronation. And as I say, I've done a separate video on that, which will be up later this week. And I think the thing is that one of the things about Saturday, the 6th of May, and this is for us personally as well, not just for the king getting crowned, but the moon is void for a large proportion of the day. Now, when the moon is void, it means it's not making any it's just not making any aspect to any of the cosmic bodies. It's kind of out there on its own. So is the king going to feel somehow out there on his own, alone? Is it going to make him feel a little bit remote, a little bit unavailable, distant? And he's quite a personable person that likes to actually be with the people. So you may find on a personal level that you feel a little bit kind of out of sorts next weekend, especially on Saturday, especially when that moon is void. And it's void for several hours. And in the UK, it's void from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon till about 7 o'clock at night. So you'll have to adjust that for your particular time zone. But what happens with a void moon is it's never a good time to do anything of any particular relevance or importance, like sign important documents, get crowned king. It's just not. It may just mean that it comes and goes without anything particular happening. The surprise might be that there is no surprise and that everything just happens and we go, oh, was that it? But because of the unpredictability of the planet Uranus and the fact that it is unpredictable, we can't know. But I do feel there's going to be a little bit of sense of chaos behind the scenes for that particular event. And if you yourself, on a personal level, are organizing anything special next weekend, the same applies, but in a kind of diluted fashion. So it is going to be interesting energy, because a few days later, the Sun in Taurus on May the 9th is conjunct Uranus. Now remember, as I said, Uranus shocks, surprises, the unexpected, the unpredictable. The Sun is about our soul, our life force, our kind of whole being. You know, it's where the Sun is when we're born is what gives us our identity. You know, Sun Taurus. If your birthday is on the 9th of May, happy birthday, but also, wow, that's going to be an interesting solar return for you and an interesting year ahead. Who knows what unpredictable life path unfolds for you in the year ahead. So that's part of that energy. Then we have to look at, you see, there's so much going on this month. Mercury, which remember is retrograde through all of this first half of the month. Mercury, our planet of communication. Now, Mercury's in Taurus. And Mercury also, just to hop back to the coronation, I wouldn't really choose again to do anything of any significance and importance when Mercury is retrograde, because it's like, you know, in a sense, he's signing a contract. Is it that they have to go back and redo something? Does something get lost, or has somebody missed something out that needs to be added to a little bit later on? You know, there could be all sorts of things. So Mercury actually goes direct finally. Oh my God. I don't know about you, whether you've had Mercury retrograde moments, but one of the things about Mercury retrograde is that, especially in Taurus, it can mean problems with anything that's to do with a kind of, say, internet banking. And I had a classic one of that today. Went on my internet banking app to just do something, and it just didn't happen. I don't know where the money went, but it didn't go where I wanted it to go. I think it's resolved now, but it's like these are the kind of glitches we can get with Mercury retrograde. But Mercury finally goes direct on the 15th of May. And it will, however, still be in what's known as its shadow. That means it doesn't get back to the degree where it's moving in Taurus into new kind of virgin territory by degree until the end of the month, until the end of May. So just be aware that even though you can relax a bit, take your foot off, you know, the brake and just cruise along a bit, that there could still be some little niggly anomalies that pop up during that second half of May. So I'd be interested, you know, when we come to a discussion at the end of this, if you have had any interesting Mercury retrograde incidents, because I think it's always quite interesting to find out if Mercury is doing what it says it does. And I do think that because it's Taurus, it's about value, it's about communication, it's about banking, money gets lost, money disappears into somewhere where it's not supposed to go. Those are all the kinds of things that we can expect at this time. So I'm aware that there are a load of you out there, and thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And so far, the technology has stayed on and working. So this is a good sign. So actually, I want to tell you about something, just leaping back to Pluto, because before I came on, I watched a documentary, and it's a new one out, and I want to recommend it because it's actually called Accidental Truth. And look out for it. I found it on my IPTV that I have here in Malta. And whether it's a Netflix or some other channels, kind of, I'm not really sure. But it's actually about the alleged cover-ups that happen in governments about UFOs. And it just is very interesting. And the reason I mention it is because watching the whole documentary, there were a lot of things that came out in that documentary that really made a lot of sense. And I think that the planet in general is ready to know whatever truths there are around. And I do think that whilst Pluto is in Aquarius, which is going to take 20 years, it may be that much more of the absolute truth, not even the accidental truth, actually comes out. And it's just going to be a very exciting time because Aquarius can be about AI. And I think we always think about aliens as being flesh and blood like us, or their equivalent of flesh and blood. But, you know, we haven't really thought that maybe they are highly automated systems that have humanoid forms, because maybe that's how one traverses dimensions and huge kind of swaths of space. Just a thought. But I'd just throw that in, that keep that in the back of your mind whilst we have Pluto, especially over the next couple of years, as Pluto hops in and out of Capricorn and then back into Aquarius. So after Jupiter moves in, so Jupiter moves into Taurus on the 16th, and then it will square Pluto. Now, this is a big transit because this means that Pluto is still squaring both the South Node in Scorpio and the North Node in Taurus. Jupiter is expanding whatever energy is around in the middle of May. And I'm thinking of that much more on a kind of world stage level in terms of what might be being acted out. And it's about our destiny, and it's something about reaping what we've already sown. So there is something of that kind of energy around, I do feel, with this Jupiter expanding that energy. But remember, you know, Jupiter is going to be in Taurus for about a year. And even though on one side it sounds great because Taurus, money, Jupiter expands, remember, Jupiter is kind of neutral. So just as much as it can bring in luck and opportunity and financial benefits, it can also see it draining out. So we have to really keep our eye on the various transits throughout the year that Jupiter makes whilst it's in Taurus, to kind of ride the wave, to take advantage of when Jupiter is in a positive position in Taurus in our own natal charts, to help us maybe attract more income or work better with what we've got. So let's move on. So on the 19th, we have the new moon for this month, and it's in Taurus, and it's actually it's quite an interesting new moon. We have, of course, got the retrograde Pluto squaring Jupiter, so that's the main kind of rather tense energy. So it's almost like new beginnings come at a price, because Pluto in Aquarius is also in opposition to Mars, our god of energy, action, war, assertion, in Cancer. Now, Mars in Cancer, remember, Cancer kind of dilutes some of that fiery passion. So Mars has to really fuel up his tanks to create some steam to get his point across. But being in opposition to Pluto, it just means that it's again this tension, because what we're doing is we're building up to what I've called, or what is called, a fixed grand cross. Now, you can either see this as a fixed grand cross. It's also, you can call it a fixed grand square. Now, this is on May the 25th, and this is the last of the very significant transits that make May such a kind of volatile, if you like, energy. And it will be very interesting to see how it does play out. And remember, on a personal level, dilute this a bit, because when one talks about these astrological energies, they can sound very almost, frightening. And I know that a lot of people get concerned and worried about eclipses and significant transits. But these outer planets, they are generational and they move very slowly. And really, how we are affected is really quite minute by comparison. Yes, some people may experience dramatic events in their lives because they are being aspected very tightly, very closely in their own natal chart, especially with eclipses. Whilst I just hop back to the eclipse, I'm going to do a live stream next Friday on the 5th to talk specifically about the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. That'll be at 6:30 Central European time, and that is 5:30 UK time, 12:30 lunchtime Eastern time, and it's 9:30 in the morning Pacific time. There we are, and all the bits in between. So this fixed grand cross, I've got a chart for it here. I'm just going to have a look at it. So it's between, why it's so interesting, this fixed grand cross, is you've got retrograde Pluto in Aquarius at 0 degree. It's in opposition to Mars in Leo. So there you've got these two fixed energies. Mars wants to create energy, to blow things up, not literally blow things up. I don't mean it like that, because that's more Uranian. But what I mean is it wants action, it wants energy. And Pluto wants to transform. But Pluto is going slow. And Pluto, is almost like it's saying, hold on, Mars, not yet. We need timing in this. But where's the timing going to come from? Because we don't have Saturn present in this configuration that would give us the timing. So Pluto is also squaring the South Node in Scorpio. So then we come up, which means it's squaring Mars at 2 degrees in Leo. And then consequently, Mars is squaring the North Node, our destiny, in Taurus, conjunct Jupiter, our planet of luck, opportunity, expansion, in Taurus, conjunct the North Node. And then they, in turn, come down to square Pluto. So look at these powerful energies. Pluto, the phoenix. Mars, fire, energy, assertion, aggression. Jupiter, our destiny with the North Node. Where are we going? I think that with Taurus as part of the mix, we might see some turbulence at this time, and jittery markets, with currencies or with stock markets, maybe because of what is happening on the world stage, because we don't know what might be happening in some of these hotspots in the world. I mean, just recently we've had it all happening in Sudan. and another mass migration of people to safety. We've still got whatever is unfolding in Ukraine. So there are these energies, and Mars in Leo, fire on fire, even though Mars is a fire planet, it rules Aries. It's the god of war. And I'm not warmongering. I'm just saying that something has to shift, something has to give. And I just wonder if something around this time kind of snaps, that we get some kind of we get an opportunity for the phoenix represented by Pluto to transform and to rise from the ashes of whatever might be going on that is just not working. So we're going to have to wait and see. I'm going to do one of my heads up nearer the time, and maybe it'll be clearer by what's going on in the world as to what to expect. But it's a it's an interesting month. So on the whole, those are the main energies that I wanted to tell you about this May. Now I'm going to have a look at what you've been saying and see if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask me. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the cursor over here and go back and see hello from Bergen, Norway, South Africa, Poole, Belgium. Wow. Someone's making, I'll be right over, aubergine Malaysia curry. Annabelle, I'm on my way. I'd love some dinner with you. And we've got someone saying, oh no, I'm out, can't watch live. Someone else telling me I rock. Well, I did used to be a pop star, actually. So I've just reinvented myself. Right, my Pisces ascendant is really taking a hit right now. When will this ease up? Let's have a look. So your Pisces ascendant, well, this is probably because transiting Saturn is either conjunct your ascendant, slowing you down, causing you to feel that you've got to set boundaries in place, that you're just not kind of thank you, Annabelle. I'll be right over. Set boundaries in place that maybe you don't feel comfortable with. Remember, the ascendant is about your identity. So this is very much about boundaries and timing. You remember I was saying that I needed to have something in this chart about timing. And, this is what Saturn is trying to bring to the sign of Pisces, whether you have a Pisces moon, a Pisces sun, or a Pisces ascendant. So I hope that helps a bit. So why is life for Aquarius so hard? Oh dear. Well, I think Aquarius has got to get used to this new energy of Pluto, the planet of transformation, moving into its sign. Yes, it is tough, but I know it sounds awful. It's going to take a couple of years to get used to the energy, but that's why these outer planets break us in very gently. So don't give up. Just be patient. It will ease and you will get used to it, and you'll want to embrace it, because Pluto for Aquarius is just going to help you transform. You are the lucky sign, I think, that is going to be able to tune in to higher frequencies, higher vibrations. I think your consciousness is just going to elevate much more than any of the other signs can do naturally. The other signs are going to have to work harder to elevate their consciousness to the state that Aquarius can get to. So don't fear Pluto in Aquarius. So you're a Aquarius, come through to finish a sale for 3 years. I'd have to look at your chart, Lara. It's a bit difficult to answer a question like that. What about Capricorn, Earth, Sun? Maria. Well, you should be sitting back and having a bit of a rest, Maria, because Pluto's left your sign, and so has Saturn, and so has Jupiter. And so Capricorn is now kind of enjoying the fruits of its labors. And even though you're going to have Pluto popping back into your sign a couple of times over the next couple of years, it will actually be helpful because it's going to help you tie up any loose ends that you've not really yet been able to address. So that's nice. From Annabelle, I wish everyone blessings and good health. It's been very tough, I know. Many wrongdoers are getting their karma at last. I think that's a very astute insight, Annabelle. I think that's probably spot on. Are Geminis and Leos a good friendship match? I'm being asked. Well, are Geminis and Leos a good friendship match? Well, that's quite a tricky one because Gemini likes to talk and Leo likes to be center stage. I have a Leo ascendant, so all I can say is that I'm okay with Gemini moon people, but Gemini sun signs, I get a little bit, they're not letting me speak. They're not letting me get in. So for me, as a Leo ascendant, not as a Leo sun, I find it a bit difficult, if that answers your question. You're a Leo sun, Anne, Scorpio rising towards goal stops and starts. Yes, I know. Well, this full moon that we've got in Scorpio on Friday is actually, I think, going to really bring about some shifts over the next few months. Remember, eclipse and full moon energy can last for quite a few months, and it just spreads out over quite. So, the changes aren't necessarily going to happen absolutely now, right at this moment. Gosh, I'm ever so hot. Do you know it's got quite humid here today? Here I am sitting in Goza. I've got the windows open and I'm absolutely dying of heat. So excuse me if I'm glowing a bit. You have 6 planets in Scorpio, Maggie, including all the main stuff. Will it be good or bad? It'll be interesting. Listen, don't worry about it because it depends really what house that is. And I think that I would actually have to look at your chart really to be able to give you a fair indication of how to expect that, because with this Scorpio full moon, it really depends which of the points in your Scorpio house it's touching. But the full moon is at about 14 degrees. I think it's 14 and 48 nearly, or 58. I think it's nearly at 15 degrees. Oh, Sam, okay, you did your first dive in Malta. Wow, fabulous. I don't dive. I know I'm a Pisces moon, but I just like to swim gently. Maybe when I was younger, I would have done it, but I couldn't do it now. Although I would like to. I used to like snorkeling. You got some unexpected inheritance from your lovely Taurus aunt, and putting it away for my future. Or that buy more crystals. Absolutely, buy more crystals. Isn't it difficult not to buy them? I've got this one here. I've got this one here. This isn't a crystal. This is labradorite, and it's just so lovely to touch and hold. And often when I'm talking to clients, and it's supposed to help, I think, your intuition and open up the third eye. And I just love it. I just feel very warm about it. So often when I'm reading charts, I actually hold on to that. So listen, guys, I'm going to start bringing this to a close before I completely melt. And what I want to say is thank you so much for joining me today and being part of this live stream. I'm going to endeavor to do these live streams for the month ahead at the end of each month. So the next one will be at the end of May. And I'm also endeavoring to do a live stream for each full moon on the actual date of the full moon, because I think it's quite fun to check in and see what the energy is like with everyone. So the first one of those I'm going to do is this Friday the 5th, and that will be starting at 6:30 Central European time, and that's 5:30 UK time, 12:30. Oh, you have to work it out with the time zones, but going back through America. But so that's happening. And listen, I'm now taking bookings for June and July. So if you would like to have a reading with me, please do go and check out my website, pennydix.com. I know websites are tricky to get around, and I think we log on to them and we go, oh, I don't know what it all means and what it says and what I'm supposed to do. So I've tried to make it simple, that you have a contact form, that you message me and say, I would like to book a 1-hour session. And basically, there's a page called Private Sessions. And on that page, it tells you how much, how long, and also about the life coaching that I do. So hopefully that will make it clear. And also, while you're there, sign up to my newsletter, subscribe to the website, and you will get the newsletter. I'm going to start doing some live webinars or Zoom events on the website or via YouTube. I don't know. I don't quite know how all the technological bits work, but it's going to be like for members, and there'll be a small fee attached. I'm also preparing, when Mercury retrograde will let me, a beginner's guide to reading your natal chart, a la Penny. And so that's nearly ready, and then that will be available hopefully by the beginning of June. So when will it be safe to clear up a miscommunication from last week? I would actually try now. Don't worry about it being retrograde, because actually, because it's retrograde, it might not help if you don't actually address it. It's always best to address these things straight on, because that's you valuing the other person, Taurus, value, and valuing yourself. Because, you know, if you don't address it, they may feel she doesn't care. They're just not bothered about me. So what's the point? So I would do it now. Chanticleer. Yes, Chanticleer has been in full fine voice all afternoon. I've been recording some heads ups. So anyway, I just want to say to all of you, thank you so much for joining me today. Let me do my classic departure speech. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe and share and all those wonderful things. And thank you so much to all my new subscribers. We're nearly at 19,000. Won't be long till 20. My God, so super exciting. So anyway, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And now I'm going to try and find how I end this. I think you'll probably see me making funny faces as I come down to click. But I just want to say thank you so much. You are all amazing. And I really love you all. Bye-bye for now.